For God, for country, for truth, for justice, for the Republic. You're listening to the Powder Monkey Podcast on PirateInfoWars.com.
People stop now, listen. You don't know what you're missing. The man will take you higher and be your one desire. You try to convince yourself God is nothing. You try to believe in something's not out there. Why can't you see what is all around you? You try to convince yourself there's only one way. This ain't so absurd to read the holy word. But Jesus is for real, so come on down from your mind blood.
Episode 28 of the Powder Monkey Podcast. And this episode is going to be titled A Day in D.C. And what a day it was. It was the third time Trump supporters, supporters of law and order, people who only showed up to D.C. to defend the Constitution and to make sure that their voice was heard when, the entire American population, that was behind this movement, they wanted it to be known that it was never constitutional to begin with, and there was quite a lot of fraud that had come to the surface. And so that was how the day started. That's what the American people showed up to hear the president unravel, and it slowly turned into something else. But I wasn't there for this one. I did have a good friend on the ground, though. He made it up there. It's Richard Small. Richie, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate, first of all, you traveling, doing what you did, and now coming on the podcast to just give all the listeners your account of your eyes and ears and what you saw there.
Well, you're very welcome, Sean. It was a great honor and a privilege to go up to D.C. I do support democracy. I am an honorably discharged veteran from the Seabees. Doing my patriotic and veteran part to go up and just be part of history. Like I said, it was a great honor, and I thank God and my wife and everybody involved that let me make the trip to be part of this great event.
Right. Now, let's. I guess we'll start with the why. And you mentioned you support democracy, and a lot of people are saying that this is the death of democracy.
Well, Sean, I'm a constitutional conservative. Being a veteran, I took an oath to defend the Constitution from enemies, from foreign or domestic. And I truly believe today that our Constitution is under attack and in fear, danger of just being destroyed.
Mm-hmm. So, and Richie, that's one of the things that I think has been at the back of everybody's mind is, and honestly, it's been one of the big thorns in everybody's side as far as, or the wedge, not really a thorn in anybody's side, but the wedge that's dividing us is that we're all, some of us don't hold what the founding fathers called unalienable rights, and the things they said were, they were truths and self-evident, we're so far apart on what our unalienable rights are, when the contract has been for years the same thing.
You're exactly right. That contract has stood the test of time, and people have come from all over the world to want to live here, to live under this contract that's now being chipped away, torn away, burnt away through all these acts that's going on today.
So let's start with let's start, I guess, with the trip. I mean, talk about talk about the sights, the sounds. One of the big thing for us, because we kind of on the first trip, when me and my good friend Stephen Barrett took off to DC for the first Stop the Steal rally. One of the first things were, once you hit that beltway and once you're in DC and you see the monument, and at the time the sun was starting to crest, and it was day was breaking, and it was a moment, to see that and to be descending upon DC for that in a peaceful manner, which we did. But talk about, I mean, what was your moment when you came through and you saw the monument there, you saw the Washington monument, you just hit DC, and I guess for you at that point, did it get real? Did it get in your mind? Did you say, all right, it's game time?
Well, I'm going to back it up just a little bit there, Sean.
All right.
The first time I came to DC was in 8th grade on an 8th grade trip. My parents was fortunate enough to have enough money to help me, to send me on this when I was in middle school from Ansted Middle.
Uh-huh.
And, we took the bus up there and we got to go visit all these sites, the monument, the Capitol, just everything that, it was
Smithsonian.
I could throw over the Smithsonian,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lincoln Memorial and all of that, as a child, and my father was in the military too, and as a child, I've, been to Cuba after the missile crisis in first, second, and half the third grade, and we moved around a lot. I was actually born in San Diego, California Naval Base, where my whole family was born here in Fayette County, but and then I went in the military, served in the Navy Seabees, and I was fortunate enough to go around Puerto Rico, Philippines, Okinawa, Alaska. I mean, I got to do some traveling too, and that's part of it too. I've been to places where people don't understand how good we have it here, or we've had it here. Let me put it that way. But it was when I was driving up, all these was flashing back to me, everything that I've done in my life to support our country, write the blank check, to do what I had to do if I had to do it at that time. And it came to pass when I stopped at the first gas station when I was up in Maryland. I pulled in and got gas, and there was a big white Chevy truck there. I was just driving my old 03 Ford Focus, hoping it got me up there and back.
Hey, wait, it's an SVT Focus though.
Oh yeah, it's a fast one. But
Okay.
96,000 miles.
I'm still going to throw that out there though. It's a fine automobile.
Yeah, it was fun. It'll go. But there was a big 4x4 truck sitting there, and I looked at it on the back that had USMC. So I was getting gas, and I said, "Hey, Marine, what are you doing?" He goes, "Marine." He looked at my hat, and I said, "That I had my old hat on. That's never forget." And he said, "What branch was you in?" And I said, "Seabees." He said, "Oh my God, well, I can't say that word."
Yeah, you can. You can. We don't censor here. Go for it.
Oh, fucking Seabees.
Didn't that feel better?
Yeah, it feels better to tell the truth, and not sugarcoat it. Not to be politically correct.
Yeah.
To be honest and real.
We're not going to be politically correct here. That's not going to happen.
Great deal. Okay. And I said, "Yeah, I was a fucking CB, you damn Marine." And we laughed and talked, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him I was going up to the rally, and he said, "Well, I wish I could go, but he was like 75. He was an old Vietnam vet, and like I said, he said, I wish I could go, but I'm glad you're going to make a stand. And of course, he said, watch my six. And I mean, we actually talked for about 10 or 15 minutes after we got gas. And that was my first great experience, just seeing a veteran at my first stop. So that gave me a good feeling about what was, you know, about fate and going and doing this. And then I went up to this was in Friendsville, Maryland. And then I stopped at the rest stop there and went to the bathroom because they wouldn't let me in their store there without a mask, and I didn't have a mask, but that's a whole nother story. But so I went to the rest stop, and when I got out, when I was pulling in there, I seen a few different cars there. You know, one had a Wisconsin tag, one had a Ohio tag, and one I think had a Illinois tag, and there was this black truck from it was actually Arkansas, which had flags out of the windows. You know how they put the little American flags out the windows. So I went in there, went to the bathroom, come back out, and there was about 10 or 12 people, maybe 15, standing around talking. I walked up, and this one guy he was wearing a leather coat, blue jeans. He looks at me and says, "Well, there's a fucking Patriot if I ever saw one." And I said, "I don't want to say a fucking Patriot, but I'm just a damn Seabees. I was in the Seabees." He goes, "Okay." And then there was an old Vietnam vet sitting there with his wife, was in that big black truck with the American flags, and there was people from, I think, Ohio there. I mean, there was just people from everywhere that was coming to this. And we just sat around and talked for about 10 minutes like we all knew each other. See, that's what people don't understand about real America, is that real Americans can walk up to each other and just act like they're their best friends for life. You know, so I got in the car, went on down, and made it into Maryland, into a buddy's place that evening. And then two friends came out, Jason and Chris. They was coming in from Ohio, and we stayed in a hotel room that night there in Frederick, Maryland. And then we drove in the next morning with Brett and his wife Leslie. And so when we was driving in that morning, of course it was dark. We left real early, and we was walking the path, you know, to go to this, because we walked like 14 miles yesterday. So it was pretty intense to do all the walking with a backpack and all that. But and you know, knocking at 60 years old, it's a little bit different too. But my old body did make it. And but when we walked around, and then I saw the monument in the dark, just sticking straight up. That's when it got surreal. You know, that's when you get that first awe. Right. So we got up there and we walked and got to the monument. And we found us a place to stand. And, you know, as we was walking up, you know, we met people from the parking garage that was walking that way too. A lady from Texas. She walked with us all the way to the walk-in, and we just all talked, and it was just like, you know, it's a family. And as we walked closer, you know, people got, you know, crowded more with us, and we was talking to everybody, and it was just, and when we got to the site where the monument was, there was bus tours pulling in, elderly people getting off, you know, 70, 80 years old people. And, they was getting off, and there was vendors there selling, you know, Trump memorabilia, and everybody. It was just so. It's hard to really put into words that when we was there, all the, you know, you want to say energy, you want to say this, but there was just a calm about.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I would say the demographic didn't change, but it was all races, all walks of life, all creeds, maybe even, like I said, my experience there were people from Egypt following me down the street. I got that, and then fortunately got that on video. A guy, you know, thanking President Trump, you know, for what the actions he had taken to, you know, to sort of, you know, stabilize his country. And so, you know, the thing is, you know, like you were saying, it's just a party atmosphere almost. Everybody, it's not. Yeah,
you don't have to watch your six. At this point, nobody had to. We wasn't looking behind us. We was all just looking around.
Yeah,
we was just looking at everybody and talking. And like I said, when we got up into the field, you know, there was there was like an Asian lady. I should have talked to her, but she obviously had a personality there in D.C. because there was a lot of people walking up to her and getting her picture taken with her. She looked like, like I said, I don't know how. I was stationed in the Orient, but I want to say she was almost Filipino, and the people, because when they talked, I could almost understand their language. But there was that, and there was. You could just tell that all nationalities was there. There was Chinese people walking around giving out pamphlets to stop the CCP.
From the Epic Times. I'll bet money it was the Epic Times, because they actually have active campaigns like that. But yeah, those people really impressed me. I've seen them doing that several times. But go ahead, talk about that.
And there was preachers there, obviously known preachers that everybody was getting their pictures taken with. It was just, and there was old veterans there in wheelchairs. There was kids playing with red, white, and blue balloon balls.
Yep.
Family atmosphere, family, just all ages, all races. It was black, white, red, yellow. It was everybody. And then, we were sitting there because we was kind of up on the hill, so we got to see them come in from both sides. And this, as the last picture I put on my Facebook post, it was. Not the last one, but it was just showed the whole field and everything loaded up. And then of course all the energy when the speaker started talking, and then as President Trump talked and he was telling us, about what he felt and what a lot of us feel, how the election was taken from us.
Can I stop you there for a second? I have a question. What was your take on the president's demeanor at that point when he started talking? Were you able to hear enough and see enough well enough to kind of get a feel for what the president was conveying physically? How did
we saw him on the big screen, and of course we was getting the echo talk. It came through, and the thing of it is, everybody's yelling and screaming, but when the president talked, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, the Jumbotron. Everybody loves the Jumbotron.
and he would talk, and he would say something, and what he spoke about, and when it was good, we would yell and scream, and he said he was just, tired of the bullshit of what's going on.
Yep.
and he was talking about, just how the election went, and how, with, all the evidence that's been shown to me that I went out and looked for, that, and nobody, it just seems like nobody wanted to look at the evidence. It's like the fix was in from both sides.
No, it was a clear, well fought election, Richie. There was no, Facebook has fact checked that. There was no any type of wrongdoing anywhere.
Oh, well, okay. I just don't understand about the guy putting cardboard over the windows so people couldn't look in and see what was going on. I don't understand how standing 20 feet back behind a counter with two people standing beside the counter, which you can't see, and the people that's not allowed to go, 150 vote talliers are not allowed to go into a building in Philadelphia because the 300 seats was already taken up by all Democrats.
My favorite is the one where more ballots got returned than actually went out.
Oh, of course.
that's my favorite. But that
the boxes of the boxes of the ballots being pulled out after they ran them out because of a urinal leak or something.
A pipe burst. Yeah. At the same time, all the other contested areas shut down. And when did that ever happen in America? Do you ever recall a time? You said you're pushing 60. Do you ever recall a time where they shut the count down? And I know that Gore
and then restarted it after everybody was gone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, Gore and Bush went on for a long time, but it wasn't widespread like this. It wasn't, hey, they shut the damn election down, and just decided they were tired and they were going to go home and sleep and come back the next day and we'll finish up then.
Yeah, me and my wife was watching it that night, and at 11 o'clock, we had won it. Trump had won. He was our president. You wake up the next morning and he had lost by hundreds of thousands of votes.
Yep. And again, maybe we're at this point we're digressing with that. Who knows where that will ever go. But let's get back to DC. Let's get back there because
we got off track there.
So you're there. The president has just said that
he spoke, and he told us about all the irregularities and everything on the voting, and then he said, well, if you want to, go ahead and walk on down to the Capitol and meet down there and have some, just go down there and meet. And like I said, his demeanor was never changed. He's always been Trump.
Right.
He doesn't change. That's I've sold a lot in my time, and the always the art of the deal is never let them see you sweat and always be in control. And that's what he was. And we went down there, and everybody walked down there, and then it was way crowded down there. And where we was at was from the monument straight down. We wasn't on the other side, and that's where the breach was. I understand was from the other side where people had been there way before we even started walking down there, which makes me kind of curious anyway. But and then they had the scaffolding built up for the inauguration on the 20th. And I'm sitting here going, now why would they have the scaffolding built up 3 weeks before the inauguration? Or 2 weeks. I mean, it only takes a day to build scaffolding.
Especially when Biden said he was going to do his virtually anyway. So, yeah.
This is what all the anomalies are starting to come in now, that it just doesn't start making too much sense. So, and that gave them the scaffolding to, have the walkboards, do everything they did to breach the Capitol.
So now let's stop there for a second, because I had sent you I was trying to send you intel as you were traveling up and as you were there. I was trying to give you some eyes and ears that I don't know what you had, and a few things I'd like to talk about. I'd like you to address maybe what the reception was like, if you were able to get in and out with so many people, as far as communications, videos, things like that.
As we got there around 11 o'clock, after when Trump was getting ready to speak, like I said, from 9 o'clock on, it was hard to get a picture out. Videos wasn't no chance, because I tried to send my wife one, and like I said, when it didn't happen, and then like I said, the communications kind of just stalled a little bit.
Right.
Well, actually a lot, I think. And I'm with AT&T, so you'd think AT&T's on top of it. Their building's right there, right?
Well, you would think.
Yeah, but as we got down there, like I said, everybody was there. A vendor was setting up his hot dog stand, and there wasn't very many vendors there. They didn't let many vendors come in to feed these people. There was a I don't know what what they want to call the exact count was, but there was a crap load of people. Well,
and let me stop you there for a second too, because that's something else. You had mentioned that there were porta potties, but there weren't nearly enough. We had talked before about how there were very few accommodations for a crowd of that size, and that it was
not near. We had more accommodations down at Rivers for a concert than they did for this.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. And that's sad, because they knew what was coming. But I'd sent you some intel as well about Antifa being escorted in the buses.
Bringing the buses in. Yes, and all that. And like I said, Antifa, in this crowd of people, I would like to just give you my personal opinion on it.
Well, that's what I want. What I want.
You can definitely tell the difference between a Trump supporter and an Antifa member. They dress different, they walk different, they hold their posture different. I mean, they wear the black, they wear the olive, they wear, black shoes, I've even seen them walking around with their backpacks with their helmets snapped to them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're olive and they're black helmets, and nobody there. Trump supporters are wearing helmets. They don't have this. Everybody was wearing red, white, and blue, or blue jeans, and not all black, and not green and black. And I mean, it's just, and you could spot them. And they was walking through the crowd. I posted up a picture of, and a lady looked at it and says, "Well, what's the deal with the umbrella?" Because it said "fuck Antifa" on it. And I said, "Well, ma'am, if you look at it, the guy's wearing olive green pants, or a black shirt with a black umbrella." Now, we all know Antifa uses umbrellas to keep pepper spray off of this, that, and the other. And this guy was actually, you could tell the way his demeanor was. He was walking around with that just to be able to show the negativity of what the Trump supporters were doing. Right. That was, they wasn't even on our minds at that point. We was there for Trump. And so it's just like I said, when we was down in front of the Capitol, you could see them walking around. They was doing this, they was doing that, and then we heard there was a breach. Right. Because then people started, on the front, you could see the people going to the second level up there. And then, excuse me, and then you could see, like, I think there was fire extinguishers going off and paint bombs, the colored paint and all this. And they said there was percussion grenades and this, that, and the other. You could hear stuff going on. And I'm sitting here going, wait a second, this can't be happening. And then, of course, we wasn't close enough or on the other side where they actually breached. And then you hear the stories of, oh, well, they was actually letting people in to watch the, they checked them, made sure they didn't have no weapons, and let them in to see, what was going on in the Capitol, all the voting and everything. And then they heard the breach started. I'm sitting here going, well, I don't, being former military, I'm just saying, to me, that doesn't seem like somebody did their job. Now, with that many people, either they was understaffed or they was planned to be understaffed. Right. I mean, and in an embassy situation, if somebody breaches the embassy, what do you do? And this is just for the ambassador and his family and the people there. You fight. You take them out. Yeah. And these people was breaching to go in to get all the politicians in the Capitol building, and I am so sorry for that lady that lost her life. Right. From that gunshot. But there should have been, in my opinion now, I'll probably get a bunch of hate over this. In that situation, there should have been a lot more people taken out. That should have never happened. They now I'm gonna talk about this woman for a minute. She is a San Diego native resident, or was. Ashley Babbitt, 14-year veteran, 4 tours of duty with the Air Force. She was a high-level security officer, and that's you talked about being in the military just now, and the protocol and everything like that, and that's a tough choice for the people that have sworn to defend the Capitol. That's their job. I get that. But this woman obviously knew, I don't understand how being a high-level security officer, how she couldn't know that, what was, I don't think anybody did. I don't know if you saw the video. I've seen the video of I saw the video where the guy shot her through the glass. Okay, now, did you see him, did you see the video of her falling backwards, or did you see the video of him from sort of like left of the video that's going just where she gets shot and then she's pulled back? You can actually see the guy on the other side of the glass. I tried to shoot her. tried to stop frame on that, but I really couldn't tell. It was kind of blurred with what the video that I got, but I showed her going down, them laying her down on the ground and calling for medic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the the first one that came out. Then there was some other footage of the left. You could see the security officer there shoot her. But I mean, those people that were in the Capitol. My opinion, and it's always been this, is that where the president leads, America should follow. America should follow his direction. That's always been my I support the president. So with that, her being in there, all those people being in there, I respect, I understand the the zeal, but I think it was
there's a frustration. There's
but
the movements are flying.
Yeah, but at the same time, those actions, that wasn't. I mean, if you're going to do something like that, you don't go and just hang out and sit in Nancy Pelosi's office with your feet up on the desk. You plan to stay, and you play to stay, and that those people right there. That was the wrong thing, I believe, personally, and I may catch hell from it too.
It was staged.
Well, I don't think that this...
in my opinion, it was staged because nobody should have... They might have broke in and went in and this all happened, but not one of them should have walked out.
Well, yeah.
They've all been taken to jail.
Well, I just don't understand how it was, and again, this is the problem I'm having, Richie, is how to, and I posted reposted a tweet or a post of, how do a bunch of hippies with beards take one of the most secure buildings in America? How does it, with
for our security
with beards and flags and 80-year-old women walking around? I supposedly, and I'm pretty sure I've heard reports that they're starting to arrest people, at airports and things like that. The people that were inside, they're using biometric sensors to kind of track these people and find them, and that there's going to be arrests and everything like that.
But Sean, you know as well as I do, they've arrested so many people, but they've got funds to bail them out.
But they're not going to bail Trump supporters out, though. This isn't the same.
No.
This isn't the same. This isn't a mostly peaceful protest we're talking about now, Richie. We're talking about domestic terrorism. Don't get it twisted.
Oh no, I'm just sitting there saying the ones who did this, the ones that we know we're talking about, will get off. The ones who just says, "Wow, I'll go and play and do this," and just follow their lead, will be the ones that will pay the price.
Well, and I was being facetious there a little bit, because all summer cities burned, and that was mostly peaceful. Churches there in D.C. were damaged and defaced.
Yeah, they seem to forget what happened this last summer.
Yeah. So I support everybody that was there, and I support everybody that was peaceful. But I
was one of them. That was the whole thing. It was all peaceful.
Yeah.
Until that crew. There's pictures of them scaling the wall.
How the fuck?
There's nobody sitting there wearing red, white, and blue. These are people that are. They're wearing specific garb.
Supposedly the most powerful nation in the world. Okay. And a guy in a buffalo hat without a shirt on takes the Capitol. How does that happen? I thought that was a buffalo helmet, helmet or something.
There's been people put a lot of posts up about him, and he's been seeing a BLM stuff
and Q and blah. Yeah,
supposedly they call him the Viking.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, when the first time we were up there, when Steve and I finally got our gear and we stopped to get something to eat and some coffee. We stopped at right across from Ford's Theater. There's a little a place called Lincoln's Waffle Shop, and it was full of nothing, man. But DC police when we were there, just full of them. Everybody was eating, I guess, before their shift. Everybody was in. They were getting coffee. They were getting sandwiches, whatever.
Right.
And they were just the coolest people because, I was sitting there without a mask. You said, with all this crap going on, I'm thinking, well, I'm getting ready to walk into a coffee shop full of cops. Here it goes. Nobody said, hey, put a damn mask on. A lot of them weren't wearing masks, and I could even hear some conversation talking about, fuck their masks and blah, blah, blah. But, the thing, though, is, they were all cool people. Everybody was thanking them for their service, thanking them for what they did. They were just, there was no, I didn't see any confrontation there.
There was no bad vibes whatsoever.
Correct. So, all of a sudden, it goes from, two peaceful protests to, siege on the Capitol. And
that's the thing. It's like it was peaceful all the way up until the last part. Until they decided, the bad element, which was not the Trump supporters, decided to go do this.
Right.
And then, as we was actually, we was leaving, we got to the Lincoln Memorial, and we was walking towards that one Liberty Bridge, when we was walking across the bridge, there had to be 25 to 30 Arlington cities coming across that bridge with their lights on doing 80 miles an hour. And I was just sitting there going, my gosh, what is going on? Right. And then of course, you get the rest of the story. You see all the pictures. They're down there in the where they have the session. They was in the main room. Like you said, it was in the office. They was taking pictures. It was a photo.
Oh, they had the congressmen down on their stomachs and cowering in fear on the floor. And it just was a really, really sad day for America all the way around.
I don't understand. These are our politics, whether you like them or not, left or right, independent, whatever. These people should have never made it to the floor. These people should have never made it through the doors.
Mm-hmm. But they did. And then, of course, now Trump's last, peaceful protest, or not, his peaceful, stop the steal protest, the walk one, safely walk, has now got the worst day in American history attached to it. Yeah. True story. So, overall, there's videos coming out. I think 5 people died. You said you witnessed a heart attack. You were near.
We witnessed a heart attack when we was walking back towards the monument. Almost at the monument, there was people giving CPR to somebody, and the ambulance got there.
Was this an older person? Can you describe?
Well, we couldn't tell. We was in the middle, and that they was over near the road.
Okay.
We didn't walk over and gawk at them. I stopped for a minute, put my knee on the a bench there, and gave whoever it was a prayer. I said, pray, these people make it through. And then I heard of all the other heart attacks. You got to remember, the temperature was dropping, and there was a couple right beside of us. They had to be in their 70s.
Right. Oh yeah.
People was freezing. It was really cold. I was dressed pretty warm, and I was still cold. And there was people sitting there just shaking, because this is what they was doing to help, the last shred of democracy we have left.
Well, they're what's referred to as the winter patriot, the winter soldier, But I'm just going to point this out again. Millions of people expected. They knew it was coming, and these people show up. The mayor orders all of the accommodations, pretty much all of the restaurants, all of the no facilities. You said that it was pretty much wherever you could find a spot. But like a third world country.
It was.
And
there was, when the friends went to the bathroom, they didn't make it back for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But actually, no, they waited. I'm sorry, it was like an hour and 15. They waited in line for 45 minutes just to take a leak.
Right. Now the women's, the Chris, Leslie, she could walk right in, she said she got down there, and got back, boom. But Chris had to go, and he said he waited in line for 45 minutes just to go to the bathroom. Insane.
That's how many porta potties they had. They didn't have enough at all.
Right. But yeah, 5 people overall passed away. I feel bad for this Babbitt lady. I think her life was ended way too soon. I don't know what she was told. I don't know what she expected going in there, but her
mindset had not to be right.
Well,
being a vet, being a military woman, she knows what she was doing.
Yeah,
unless they was told nothing will happen. If y'all do this, nothing will happen to you.
Right. I just don't see.
Nothing does happen to them. It's always the civilian. It's always the elderly. It's always the family group that gets attacked, and everything happens to them, or they get kicked in the head till they're dead in the streets.
Right.
This is where it's escalated to, that one side can do whatever they want without any consequence or repercussion, and the other side, you step out of line and you're going to jail. And I want to say this: on the walk back, we walked all the way back. We came back into the city where we was parked.
Mm-hmm.
Now on this bike trail, right before we got to the main road where the hotels was, a lady drove by on her bicycle, and she looked at us as she went by. She said, "You fucking terrorist," and kept riding. I was like, "What? I'm a terrorist." And then we got up to the streets, and some young kid, probably he looked 25, driving a Tesla, pulls up, rolls his window down, undoes his coat, puts his hand in his coat, and says, "What the fuck do you people not understand? Y'all lost the election. Get the fuck over it. Do you not know what it means to lose?" And I just said, "Fuck you," and walked away, because I know if I'd have stayed there much longer, it was going to get ugly. And then Chris and Jason, Brett, and Leslie stayed and was talking to him, just trying to, talk our side of it. And now this is just what they said after the fact. The police officer had stopped and told them to keep walking, which they was walking, and this guy was backing back up the street, yelling and screaming. And they stopped again, and the police officer said, "Y'all need to keep walking." I said, "Well, tell him to keep fucking back, quit fucking backing up."
Right.
And then he took off, and the officer got back in his car, and then they came around. They told me what happened. I was like, "Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me." This was just our walk back out. I'm just like,
Well, it's a dangerous precedent, and it's not really a precedent. It's been going on for quite a while now, and it's gone on.
It didn't start in this administration, I guarantee you that.
No, but it was it was ramped up to ridiculous proportions. We have seen.
Honest, the last administration under Obama, there was Black Lives Matter walking down the streets. What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Right now. Was anything said? No.
Oh yeah, it's the no borders, no wall, no USA at all crowd. And guess what, Richie? We're pretty damn close to them getting their wish. And guess what? You know what? That's going to be a godsend, because when these people do, if something doesn't happen, and in just 13 days, he ends up leaving, and all this, they are going to get everything that they deserve. Everybody, they are going to know, and the Democratic Party are going to be our best convincers. We're not going to need to convince people at the end of this, everybody's going to see they'll own nothing, that they'll own no property, they'll be serfs at that point. And
they'll come after your weapons, they'll come after your freedom, they'll come after your freedom of speech.
Oh, it's coming.
Your money.
Yeah, it's coming. They've already said, and especially since, my God, Richie, just think about it. If just a couple million Americans showed up and just a couple thousand of them took the damn Capitol with poles, what would a bunch of Americans with firearms do?
Oh, you mean the 92 million veterans out there?
So, I mean, my God, that's a national health crisis, isn't it?
Well, the thing with it is they're not. They think that they're untouchable because of the tolerable right has put up with this shit for so long.
Well, I mean,
and
it's
they're about ready to find out something different. But the problem of it is, it's just like we combat our liberal friends on a daily basis anymore, and it's just like they don't realize. And I told them, I said, the day comes when you start bitching about a $5 gallon of gas or a $4 gallon of gas, I'm gonna punch you in your fucking mouth.
Well,
if you bitch about a $6 gallon of milk, I'm gonna punch you in your fucking mouth.
It's not going to matter how much it costs, Richie, because guess what? It's the Empire Strikes Back on the war on coal. I don't know if they understand that. I don't know. I mean, you sold cars. You
went through a hard time, bro.
How many? Okay, yeah. How many women did you talk to whose husbands had been laid off in the coal mines and they were trying to go from a Chevy Tahoe to a Chevy Cruze? I mean, how many of those did you talk to?
Hey, where was the coal mines out in Raleigh County? Down Route 3, right?
Right.
I worked at Glen Daniels pre-owned lot down there in Glen Daniels, right on Route 3. And I had a lot of coal miners coming in, begging me to help them. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing I could do.
And then a lot of tumbleweeds.
And a friend of mine is the president of the bank. And he was sitting there going, man, I cannot believe I've got to do it. He was repossessing four-wheelers, boats, campers, houses, whatever. Because they, it's just funny that people don't realize, back in the day, under the last administration, under Obama administration, that you used to get a year's unemployment with an extensions, of course. And when the coal mines were shut down, right before that, it was just mystically that Obama had cut unemployment benefits from a year to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so in 6 months, the coal mines didn't open up. So everybody lost everything, and the ones who could make it was the ones who was, very good with their money. But I seen so much distress. I worked for Toys for Tots that winter, and I seen so many coal miners come in there, and this hits me hard. They was coming in there, and one guy in particular, he walked in, he had 4 kids from the ages, I think it was like 3 to 8. I mean, and his head was low, and you could just see it on him.
Yep.
He's like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. He says, I lost my job in the mines, and I don't want to, this is not who I am, and this is bullshit. And I'm like, dude, you don't worry about it. And, we were supposed to only give like 3 or 4 presents per kid, 3 presents. Mm-hmm. That guy, I loaded up 4 bags. I mean, it was just tough. And then they came over to me and said, Richie, and I looked at him, and they said, well, we're not going to tell you can't do it. And I mean, I did that for a lot of families that year.
Right.
And that's what these people don't. But the problem is, I think, is most of the liberals are already got a check coming.
Oh yeah.
They're the ones who don't want to work. These are the ones that are sitting back on their asses and hoping, someday, somebody will go to work and help pay for my shit.
Well, this is universal basic income. These are the people who are proponents of the universal basic income. They're the people who are fine with the the Great Reset, where all of their personal property is gone. They own nothing. They pay for nothing. They own nothing. The government sends them a small stipend to live upon, the universal basic income, and they just rent what they want. But do you ever...
Then they get their food stamps, and they get their free medical, and they do this. But what they don't understand is someday the fucking cookie jar is going to be empty, and they ain't going to be able to reach in and grab money to pay for this shit.
Yeah, well,
Then they're going to be like, oh, we got to thin the herd, but we can't do it the way.
dude, they're already doing that. I mean, they're already doing that.
Back in the day, they just put a bullet in the back of their head. Well, they're not going to waste money on bullets.
Yeah. Well, no, they've got shots now. So,
Yeah, that's a whole
but
nother story, too.
yeah, that's a whole nother episode right there. But well, dude, I mean, like I said, I support the spirit that was there. I support the 95% of the peaceful protests that happened that day. I support every one of those people in that building trembling because of the wrath of the American people on the outside of that building, peacefully protesting.
I hope they shit themselves and them politicians pissed all over themselves and really didn't know what was going on.
Well, you know what, and that's the thing. I mean, it's the Democrat. I mean, I don't understand how Joe Manchin is still a politician in West Virginia. We're red, but somehow he pulls it through every time. But he's calling for censoring of the president. The president of the United States has now been censored on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram for the remainder of his time and probably his life.
First steps to communism is censorship.
Well, listen, man.
Get rid of the free voice.
I'm going to tell you, and I don't care who's listening. I don't care who, because there is another election coming around in just a few short months. It'll start gearing up, and those midterms will be here before you know it.
Well,
and we
I
need.
I'll stop you right there, Sean. The integrity of the vote, in my opinion, is gone.
Oh yeah. I mean, I understand that. I agree. I agree.
It's done.
Well,
they've set out to do what they wanted to do.
well, it's only done when the people see it and don't do anything about it. Evil triumphs when good men fail to act. But the thing is you can't act and then go in there, and if you're going to do it, commit to the damn thing. And I'm not saying anybody go back and try to take over the Capitol or anything, but what I'm saying is, I mean, it's not a show up and leave 45 minutes or 3 hours later or however long they were there.
You're going to seize the place, seize it for days.
Well, I mean, seize it for the new republic, but or the restored republic. Let me put it that way. But again, that's not the point. That's not what anybody was there for. But we're here. We're where we are. And the vast majority of everybody there are patriots, and they are true winter soldiers. I want to thank you for being there. I want to thank the other people that you were there with, and everybody who gave a damn and showed up for any one of these. But my heart goes out to Miss Babbitt, and her family.
Condolences for their family and their loss. It was unnecessary and not needed for
this. Yeah, it was absolutely unnecessary. We had so much momentum. The president had so much momentum, and but
as we say, the deep state goes deeper than we'll ever know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the fake news media is always going to be fake. They're never going to be fair. I mean, it's
every component that Orwell put into place. It's everything Huxley talked about, and that wasn't by mistake. They were just leaking we're seeing the fruits of what this this deep state, this technocracy has salivated over for years, and it's a shame to see that that the vast majority of us are still too stupid to see it.
Well, it's not that like this. I always say we're tolerant. We put up with it. We'll, because we want it to be right. We don't want to force it to be right. We just want it to be right. And it was just like on the ride back when we was coming back to get cars to come home.
Mhm.
You know, we was listening to talk radio. The DC mayor was on there talking about the travesty, and it's the worst day in DC history, and this should have never happened. And the people involved, the Trump supporters doing this, it wasn't nobody else. It was us. I mean, and then the police chief got on one and said his bullshit crap. I mean, it was just, I was sitting there going, I was there. I saw it. I seen it. Now, what happened on the inside, I wasn't there. They didn't breach from the side I was on. Like I said, this was, in my opinion, was staged and fucking bullshit.
I trust your observation, man, and I think as time goes on, through alternative media, we're never going to see the truth. From the controlled Mockingbird media, it's not going to happen. But if like I said, it's going to be a wake-up call for everybody, because those who are wicked are going to become even more wicked, and those who aren't are, they're. I believe that God's got a way of seeing them through, and I believe
Lord
that.
has his archangels, and every soldier has to do bad things without regret or remorse sometimes.
Well, let's just, like I said, let's prepare for war, but pray for peace. I think that sounds good.
That's where I've always been. That's why, even my mother told me, she says, sometimes I wish you wouldn't have went in the military to be who you are today.
I got you, man. Well, Rich, anything you want to close with? Anything you want to say?
Like I said, I want to thank everybody who came up there and was peaceful, and I hope this interview, this talk, let you know that what really happened, that it was love and peace, and trying to get along with everybody, and it was not what they're portraying on the fake news networks. And if you're going to believe the fucking garbage they put in your heads, then you're going to be heads full of shit. That's all I got to say. That's
it, man. Well, you're a patriot. You're a winter soldier. And thanks for what you've done, man. I really appreciate, like I said, I appreciate what you've done, Richie. And thanks for coming on the show and being there, being our eyes and ears on the ground for this one, man. Really,
Sean, I want to thank you for having me on your show. Hopefully, the word gets out that it was what it was and not what they wanted to be.
Oh, you're going to be famous now. I'm really huge in like Pax, West Virginia. So you're going to be famous. So get ready for that. I just want you to know. But
well, my wife's already the famous one. I don't need to be.
well, the Powder Monkey podcast, it just the fame and fortune just follows somehow. I don't know. but
I want to thank God for getting me up there back and safe forth.
Amen to that.
Taking care of everybody who did, and I want to pray for the families and send out my condolences for everybody who got hurt or, who passed away in that day. I mean, that's the sad part of it all.
That's it. Let's just pray it stops there. Let's just pray that those are the only American lives that are going to slip from this. But
all right, bro.
Thanks for your time, man, and we'll do this again anytime you want, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
All right. You take care, Sean. God bless you and the family.
You too, sir. Thanks.
God bless America.
Purple shrines on our head. Phenobarbital makes us dead. To heaven's gate we will go. To climb aboard
For God, for country, for truth, for justice, for the Republic. You're listening to the Powder Monkey Podcast on PirateInfoWars.com.
Comets conscience numbing, we have no fear. I called my friends up and they're all here. For pudding and vodka, yeah, 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 yeah. Lewis, that's you? I'm trying to reach you for days.
These are really good, really filling though. Fuck, man. It tastes great, but the thing is there's no filler in this. Take a long time to eat. They're so thick, man. There's so much in this. There's no filler. These are so good. I've literally said, make the best fucking bar you can. And that should be the sales pitch. You know, it's fun to do these jokes and everything, but damn, I just ate half a bar. I'm like, full. You still rolling? Let me finish eating this. I'll do it. I never chew this much. I just said, those bars or something else. You know, most of it has a bunch of fillers, right? I said, no filler. I kind of get why you do a filler. It's like, wow, it still tastes great, but it's like, shit. Have you eaten one of these? Like it? Oh, yeah. These are the simple pleasures, but they are the best pleasures. Protein bars, InfoWarsLife.com. Whatever you do, don't go order any.